So RE9 is just a couple months away, and just like any fan, I am very excited for it, and I think it is quite possible that we might see an old returning name appear in some shape or form in RE9, whether that's a playable character or not. So I wanted to go ahead and make a top 10 list of who I think should return in RE9, whether as a playable character or not. I think the characters that should return should have at least some kind of previous involvement in Raccoon City, but I kind of included some characters that are just my personal favorites in this top 10 list that I would like to see return. So let me know what you guys think of my top 10 list, and let's go ahead and get started.
Shipper, cover me! Hurry!
So coming in at number 10 is Sheva Alomar, and this is a character I've wanted to see return for a very long time because obviously she survived in RE5 and helped Chris take down Wesker, and I believe as far as we know, she is still a part of BSAA. So I always figured it was possible for her to return, but it has not happened yet. So her returning in RE9 would be pretty random, but I'd love to see it. Next is Rebecca Chambers, and I think it would be really cool if she was actually included in one of the mainline games because obviously she hasn't been included in a game in a very long time. Her only involvement is really RE0 and RE1 Remake, which are both stories that happen at the very beginning of the RE timeline. She was only like 18 years old back in the events of RE0 and RE1, so unlike Barry, she would actually be pretty young still for the most part and could definitely be used in a future title like RE9. Especially because they've been using her in the CGI movies a lot lately.
Do not let anyone approach. You, come with me.
There he is.
Coming up next here is one of my personal favorite characters, and that is Hunk. Hunk was actually the 4th survivor of Raccoon City, so I could see it being possible that he would return in RE9, but just like his other appearances in the Resident Evil games, his appearance would probably be pretty dull and not very important. Hunk has always been a super mysterious character, so regardless of whether he's in RE9 or not, I really hope that we eventually get a future title with Hunk in it so that we get to see more lore and backstory to his character. But now on to the top 7.
I can't stand her.
Who? The woman here with Wesker?
That is Wesker. Alex Wesker.
Now, with Natalia, she doesn't exactly have a backstory for Raccoon City or anything like that, but her character was left super open at the end of Revelations 2. So, at the end of Revelations 2, I think she was possessed by some kind of darker spirit, probably because of the doing of Alex Wesker, but if they used her in a future title, she would obviously be older and more of an adult, so she could be used as a really good antagonist, or maybe a character that we gotta try and save by getting the spirit out of her. Regardless, I'd really like to see where they could go with that.
No! Sherry? Sherry, we're gonna say goodbye to your mom. Mom.
So, Sherry's character for this one would actually have a huge involvement in Raccoon City, so I could see her returning in RE9 being kind of likely, especially because we got to see in RE6 that she's got some kind of regenerative healing powers, and she could be used as pretty much a really badass character to play as. I could see it making sense for Sherry to return to Raccoon City because both of her parents died there, and I could see her wanting to return for some kind of motive for revenge or something on Umbrella. But regardless, I think it'd be pretty cool if we got to see Sherry in RE9. Now let's move on to the top 5.
Leon, we really gotta stop meeting like this.
Are you all right? Police chopper, it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm fine.
So I put Claire at number 5 because she has a huge involvement in Raccoon City as well for being one of the survivors, but she also doesn't really have much of a reason as to why she could return in RE9, so I can't really piece together what could be the significance to her returning, but of course we would all love to see it happen because she is not really included in many RE titles, so anytime we get a new game that has Claire Redfield in it, it is always a plus. Claire could potentially help Grace on her mission in Raccoon City, but that's all I could really see them doing.
Our unit's down to you, me, and Lieutenant Mikhail. That's it. And Mikhail's hurt bad. If we don't cooperate, we won't be walking away from this mission.
Next one I would really like to see return that I put in the number 4 spot is Carlos. I really think that Jill wouldn't have survived Raccoon City if it wasn't for the help of Carlos, so he had a huge impact on RE3, but of course we never got to see him outside of that game. Usually when it comes to a new RE game coming out that's a different story and not a remake, you don't really see an opportunity for Carlos to reappear or make a comeback, but in this case with RE9, it is possible because they're going back to Raccoon City and he is one of the survivors. So all we can do for now is keep our fingers crossed that Carlos is the second protagonist. Now we are in top 3 category, and for the top 3, I wanted to include Jill Valentine. She is also a survivor of Raccoon City, obviously, but because of the powers given to her by Wesker, she could be a really badass character to play as in a future, or nowadays, Resident Evil title, I should say. The vaccine given to her in RE3 that saved her from the T-virus does give her a slower aging rate, so that also helps for her to not be so old in RE9 and still have the badass combat abilities that were given to her by Albert Wesker.
They need this medicine. It slows the infection, and I know it works. I used it on myself. So
why does this matter to me?
Because you two are infected.
Ada's involvement in RE9 is pretty much similar to my take for Claire returning in RE9. I can't exactly piece together the vision as to how they would have Ada return in RE9, but she is obviously one of the survivors of Raccoon City, and just like Claire, she does not appear in very many RE titles. I think Ada Wong's character definitely deserves some more time in the spotlight before she gets too old. And if they had her return as the second protagonist, as somebody that you could actually play as, that would just be absolutely fantastic, because Ada has always been one of my favorite characters.
Come on. Let's go home.
Now my number 1 pick for who I think should return in RE9 is none other than Leon Kennedy. This has kind of been like everyone's number 1 odds-on pick of who is going to return as the second protagonist in RE9, but I agree that I really think that it should happen. You know, just like all of the characters in Resident Evil, they're not getting any younger, and Leon is pretty much a living legend at this point, who we have not really seen in a very long time in the Resident Evil storyline. And if Grace Ashcroft happens to need any help on her mission in Raccoon City, then who better to call than Leon S. Kennedy, because he would literally know that entire place like the back of his hand, and he is also one of the most skilled fighters that you could have on your side in a Resident Evil game. With the recent success of RE4 Remake, and them also including Leon in the CGI stuff like Vendetta and Death Island, I could see it being very likely that he is included in RE9. So we'll just have to hope and see. Well, that was my top 10 list. It feels pretty accurate to who I would like to see in RE9, but feel free to go down in the comments below and let me know who you guys would like to see return in RE9. Other than that, make sure you guys hit like on this video, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video tomorrow. Peace.